So in this video, we're going to talk about the changes to the highway code for 2022. I put a video up about a week and a half ago, which has blown up. For a small channel like mine to have this amount of views is phenomenal. But it really does go to show how neglected the general public feel, because they're having to turn to YouTube to try to find out what's going on. And from my point of view as a medical assessor, I work for a charity called Heartability. One day of the week we conduct medical assessments on behalf of the DVLA. For us to not have any idea what's actually going on, we've not been given any guidance from the government or DM, which is driving mobility, because they don't know what's going on, is quite worrying. On top of that, speaking to a test centre manager of the DVSA, so the people that do the driving and riding tests in the UK, they also have not been given any information of any changes yet. So as far as they're concerned, they will continue to assess driving tests in exactly the same way as they were previously. Now, a lot of people were concerned with the last, in particular H2, to the changes. So where that means that a pedestrian will have the priority when crossing the mouth of a junction. Now, there is a caveat that has been placed in H1, which kind of gives you a bit of a mitigating circumstance. I'm not a lawyer, but it's definitely looking like it's going to make pedestrians also aware. So in H1, it states that all of the things where they have priority or where they should have right of way, things like that. But it then says, none of this detracts from the responsibility of all road users, including pedestrians, cyclists and horse riders, to have regard for their own and other road users' safety. Now that's important, because that's saying that if a pedestrian, for instance, is not paying attention, they're looking down at their phone, they've got their headphones in, and they just wander into the middle of the road, I can't see any judge allowing them to win the case. At the end of the day, they've not taken their own safety into regard. So it's kind of, again, allowing sort of drivers to have a possibility of getting out of these sort of situations if somebody were to be reckless and deliberately try to walk out in front of a vehicle. A good video to watch on this as well, as I've been looking through this myself, is Black Belt Barrister. He's put a video up which basically talks about these sort of situations and the legal implications. It's quite interesting viewing, so I'd recommend watching that. Now, Rule 77 is changing to Rule 79. That's basically to do with cyclists. So a cyclist that wishes to turn right at a roundabout can do so in the left lane. Now, on a mini roundabout, not too much of an issue. On a slightly bigger roundabout, possibly not too much of an issue. On a multi-lane roundabout, I can see this being potentially lethal. That a cyclist could be in the left lane of, say, the Great Cambridge roundabout near me, and turning right in the left lane, where there's 2 lanes coming off for every exit on a 40 miles an hour roundabout. It seems a bit ridiculous to me, but that rule has been put in place. So be aware, on smaller roundabouts, bigger roundabouts, a cyclist could be on your left-hand side turning right, but they will have to be given an armed signal, okay? Obviously, be aware that they may not be. Rule 151 is saying that if you're in slow-moving traffic and a pedestrian wishes to cross in front of your car, you should let them cross. Again, that's something that most drivers and riders do anyway. Rule 163 is to do with overtaking cyclists and horses. So if you're overtaking a cyclist and you're travelling less than 30 miles per hour, you must give them a distance of at least 1.5 meters, and if you're going more than 30 miles per hour, at least 2 meters. Remember, standard rules and laws apply, so if they are traveling more than 10 miles per hour and you're having to cross a solid white line to do the overtake, you should not. That is illegal. That is a must not. Also, overtaking horses, you should do that with a gap of at least 2 meters again, but also traveling no faster than 10 miles per hour. We advise learner drivers to go as wide as they possibly can with horses anyway. The rule 186 is pretty much what we do already anyway. So if there's a cyclist, horse rider or a horse-drawn vehicle approaching from your right-hand side, you must give them way, which is the norm anyway. They're just reiterating the point of that one. Now, rule 195 is a bit of a change here. So this is from zebra crossings to zebra and parallel crossings. Now, a lot of you watching this is probably thinking, what is a parallel crossing? It's what we nickname a tiger crossing. It's a zebra crossing with a separate cycle lane that is adjacent to it. They are becoming more popular now, and I dare say we're probably going to see a lot more in the next 10 years. It's to link one cycle lane to another. Now, at the moment, a rider must dismount before going across a zebra crossing. With a tiger crossing or parallel crossing, they can ride across. So be aware and remember the change of you should give way to anyone waiting to cross at a zebra or parallel crossing as well. So if you can see that there is a rider approaching, take into consideration their speed, because they will go across at a higher speed. So you need to be seeing that earlier. Again, from my point of view as a driver, as a rider as well, I think some of the infrastructure changes, especially in North London, aren't really good for this, because they've put rain gardens, which are basically plants or parked vehicles near the cycle lane, which makes it very difficult to see, especially if there's parked trucks or vans. So to see a cyclist approaching is quite tricky. So personal opinion, I think they need to change the layout of some of these junctions to make them safer. Rule number 239 is something that somebody put on the comment section on the previous video, is what we call the Dutch reach. Now, the Dutch reach is basically saying that you should use the opposite hand to the door to hold the actual door itself. Open the door once you've checked your mirror and your blind spot, and then look behind as you open the door. Okay, there's been a lot of media coverage on this saying that you must do this. It's not, it's a should. And why is it a should? Because it would go against the Disability Discrimination Act. If somebody is not able to use one arm, so for instance, if I've got a client that's had a stroke, an amputee, has missing arms, hands, fingers, it wouldn't be possible for them to do it. So it can't be a law, okay? The other part of 239, which is different, is to do with charging your vehicle. So if you're charging your vehicle, you should park your charging socket as close to the charger as possible, so you don't have trailing cables, and make sure that all cables are put away properly after you have finished with them. And then the final important change, or one that's more sort of prevalent to us, is to do with fleet. Now, for any of you that's watching this and wondering what fleet is if you have a company vehicle, or you use a company vehicle. So for instance, if you drive a delivery vehicle for a company, you should do a daily check. Okay, Andrew Hayward very politely put some comments up on the last video. This is basically for your type of industry, so the haulage industry. So from my point of view, I also do carry out fleet assessments. I know it makes me sound like a jack of all trades. A lot of driving instructors will do other things as well, but we advise people to either do flowery or powdery, which is basically a daily check. I will put another video up on this probably in the next few weeks. Flowery is the one I tend to use with my clients, so that's checking that the fuel level is correct, that the lights are all working, that there is oil, the water, making sure that there's plenty of screen wash and coolant, that the electrics are fine, so basically there's no warning messages coming up. Rubber, so checking the windscreen wiper blades and the tyres are legal, and yourself, making sure that you're not tired, fatigued, under the influence of anything. That's now been placed into the highway code as well. So a few things there, and I hope that video has helped a little bit. As always, if you do have any questions, please put a comment in the comment section below. It would be really interesting to see everyone's opinions, because I've found the comment section on that last video really intriguing. It's it really does show that people do care about driving and riding and making sure everyone's safe, contrary to a lot of people's beliefs where they seem to think that everyone that drives four wheels or everyone that's a cyclist is dangerous, and it's clearly not the case. People are really concerned and want to make sure that they're doing things safely, which is great to see from my point of view. So thank you ever so much again, and I will put a video up again if I do hear of any changes or just to confirm. All the best and stay safe.